Hi, subscribe to my channel Shobha Rana for more.
So, Trin, a little education time for us. Okay, as a cis woman, I have lived in a certain way. I've seen the world in a certain way. As much as I'm trying to understand and comprehend the new world that it is becoming now, and as much as I'm willing to understand that, there is still a lot of confusion around the whole community per se.
Yeah.
I could understand till maybe LGB. Now
Sure.
this TQIA plus, right? So please help us understand the concepts of pronouns. Please help us understand gender dysphoria
Yeah.
and things around gender identity basically.
Right. So I think we as Indian society, we're very lucky and we're a little ahead compared to the West. Because when we read about Hindu mythology, for example, and we listen to stories from our grannies and whatnot, or even if we do a little bit of digging around with our temples and yada yada, you will see that our history and our mythology has a lot of references of trans people in particular, or gender variants, right? Like for example, I remember reading about Shikhandi back in our क्या बोलते थे बाल महाभारत कथा.
Correct.
In high school, I remember reading about Mohini, who is an avatar of Vishnu, right? Correct, na?
I think so, yes.
Hannah? I think so. Because I'm not great on mythology, but I have heard, stories. And if we as a society can have examples of gender variance in our mythology, then we are definitely far ahead, right? I think that what people are slowly starting to understand is that we have always been around and we are only becoming more vocal right now. But to start from the very beginning, who is a trans person? Trans is short for transgender, right? It essentially means that you were assigned a particular gender at birth. आप एक gender में पैदा हुए थे. I was born a boy. I was assigned male at birth. And I always identified as a girl. I identified as something other than what I was given at birth, right? So that's what trans means. It's an umbrella term, right? Some of us identify as the opposite gender. Some of us identify as neither, right? And we call that non-binary. And of course, in Indian society, for like many, many, many decades and generations, we've had traditional communities of trans people that we call the Kinnar community or the Tirunangai community, depending on which part of the country you're from. So these are communities of trans people who have their own rituals and chosen families and systems of basically supporting each other, right? And they started because biological families would not accept us and they would throw us out.
Just disown. Yeah.
Right. So that is how people historically have found ways of surviving, right? So do I belong to the Kinnar community? No, because that's not my culture. I wasn't raised in that system. But just like you, I am a woman, but of a different history and a different experience, right?
Aren't we all though?
Right. And every single woman has her own history, has her own experience. Womanhood is so varied like that. And I would say that a trans woman is a woman of just a different experience. That's all. So, yeah.